Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So I went to my first track day yesterday on the bike. What an awesome time I had up at Pembrey in Wales. Took us about 3.5–4 hours to get up there. There's a bit of traffic, but not too bad. Just took the bikes up on a bike trailer. I think the ideal situation would be taking it up in a van, but that's what we had, so that's what we've done. But yeah, I had an absolutely brilliant day. Anyone who's got any road bike at all, I would strongly advise going to do a track day. It's absolutely awesome. Yeah, I did have a small off on the second session. I mean, I'll tell you how they run it basically. If you've never done a track day, you go up, because of the COVID situation, you couldn't have any more than one person helping you. So you went up and got your wristband after you signed on. Then you had your briefing, which was pretty quick, to be honest, didn't seem to take long. And then they have it was an Ian Lougher day, and the way they do it is three sets of 20 minutes. So, you know, you have the advanced go out first, then the intermediate, and then the novice, and you do like that for 3 sessions in the morning, and then you have another 3 sessions like that again in the afternoon. On all the sessions they do a sighting lap on the novice. If you're in the novice group, so they do a couple sighting laps to you know, try and warm your tyres off a bit and get you into the swing of things. And then on the very first session, they take you out, do 2 laps, and they bring you in the pits just so you know where you're going. Then they send you back out again, so that's quite good. Anyways, did the first session. It was still damp on the track. It had a shower in the morning. When me and Nath walked out of the Premier Inn in the morning, it was actually pissing it down, to be honest. But we got to the track. By the time we unloaded the stuff, it stopped raining, but the track was still damp. So I went out and done the first session. I was lucky enough that when I was going around the first session, one of the instructors on the day, called Vince, he come past me and then sort of give me a look to say, you know, follow what I'm doing, and then was moving around on the bike. And I think what he was trying to tell me afterwards, because I spoke to him, was trying to tell me, you know, you need to move around more, basically. So unfortunately, I only followed him for about half a lap or so, and then it was time to come in. But I did go and have a chat with him afterwards, and yeah, basically, he showed me a few things. Just said, you know, you need to get your ass over each side before you get to the corner. Just really sort of exaggerate your leg and your arm movement. Which helped. I then thought about that for the rest of the day, really. So I tried to concentrate on my body positioning straight away, really, from then. So we went out for the second session then, and it was just starting to dry up. Well, I thought it was pretty dry, but I think maybe looking back, you know, when I've quickly scrolled through some of the videos that I've got, that it might have still actually been a bit wet when I low-sided, but I don't know. Anyway, I was coming down, there's a big long straight, and you come up to a nice tight corner. You're braking from like 125, 130 mile an hour down to maybe 40, 50, maybe even less than that, depending on how you go around the bottom corner. If you don't go very wide, if you take it tight, you're really going slow, which is probably what I probably went too tight. Come round and I just felt the front end drop out for me. Tried to sort of hold it with my knee and my hand and stood along a bit, and then just ended up in a bit of grass there. Stood the bike back up, went to start it up again, and then I could see the red flag waving like mad, so I thought, right, I better stop. So they had the ambulance come out and they just take you in, they check you over, have a quick medical read, nothing major, just check your blood pressure and stuff. Mine was a bit high just because I think a bit of adrenaline from falling off, as that's the first time I've ever low-sided like a road bike. When I fell off my KTM green laner, but that's not quite the same when you fall off in some mud or in a hedge. It's not really quite the same as falling off on a hard bit of tarmac. But actually, I'm really glad I fell off, because it wasn't as scary as I thought. The only thing it's done, it's obviously, I don't know where you can probably see that if I move it over, it scuffed all the fairing here. Luckily it didn't actually damage any of the engine covers or anything. This foot brake here was bent further up, so I just bent it round, but I didn't want to go too mad because I didn't want to snap it off. And then it slightly caught the edge of the exhaust here, but that's literally hardly, these dents here are already in it anyway. And the throttle, the throttle got stuck on, because the little underneath where you've got your sort of throttle grip, there's like your tube, and the metal from that was grabbing, so when you turned it was grabbing, so I had to just file that down. One of the guys up there, Phil, let me borrow his file, so I filed that down and just put some tape over it, and yeah, that was absolutely spot on for the rest of the day. I was lucky because the lever, you can see here, the lever caught as well, but there's some of these folding ones, and this is a Pazzo one, this one, but yeah, that when that hit the ground, it just folded up like that. No, sorry, did it go that way? I can't remember now. It went one way or the other, and and the bar ends, luckily the guy before me fitted these wobbly bar ends, which at the time I didn't know whether these were any good or not, but after yesterday's knock, 100%, they're absolutely brilliant, because that saved the clip on really. If that had been solid, like a solid bar end, it probably would have took a harder brunt and could have snapped the clip on. That would have been the end of my day then, because I didn't have any more spares like that really. So yeah, I was pretty happy with that. But yeah, anyway, got it back together. We were up there with a group of guys. There's a load of us there from the Southwest Bikers Forum. It's about, I probably think it was about 7 or 8 of us all together, and everyone just, wasn't any stress or anything. People just checked you're alright, and then I just cracked on and sorted out. And because you have a bit of time between each session, you have a good 40 minutes, because you've got your session and then you have 2 of the other ones before you go out again. So I easily had time to do that, and I was out again for the next one. So yeah, all the other sessions went absolutely brilliant. Loads of variation. Whatever bike you've got, if you've got a bike and you want to try a track day, 100% just go for it. There's people up there. I got overtook by Nick. It was his first day as well. He overtook me on his little Bandit. I did get him back on the next session, and in general there was all sorts. There's people with just their normal road bikes, older stuff, all sorts there. People old 2-strokes. We were getting overtaken by crazy little things that weren't nowhere near the same power as this. Like, this is probably, really looking at it, this is probably more on the bike that I need. A lot of people have said that. I've seen that on forums before, and I think they're probably right. I probably would have been better off just getting a maybe 120 brake 600 rather than a 150 brake 900cc bike. But I like riding the bike. It rode really well, and considering I'd never ridden it before, I was pretty happy with it. The only thing I want to do is soften the front suspension. I think I put too much fluid in when I filled it up, because even braking hard from like 130 mile an hour on the straight, I wasn't getting the full travel on the front fork, so I think I need to soften them off a bit so as it gets the travel. But other than that, absolutely brilliant. I might get some RNG or them style crash bungs there, because Nathan came up with us on his CBR 600. He also low-sided the next session in pretty much the same place. I lost the front, and he come round, and the back came out on him, and he sort of did a roly-poly, and the bike spun around. But he had a crash mushroom there, or crash bobbin, whatever they call them, and that took a big brunt of it. It bent it up, but it did take a lot. His fairing didn't take as much damage. I mean, I'm not really worried about these fairings because I just keep getting scuffed. I don't really care about the condition of the actual fairing, but if I'd caught the engine casing, I wouldn't have been too happy. So I probably will look into getting them. But otherwise, yeah, absolutely brilliant day. There was instructors there you go over. They were super friendly. I didn't know if they would be funny about anything, but they were super helpful. You go and ask them anything, they just say, yeah, we'll come around with you. later on, will pass you in the group, and then you can follow them for a bit. And a couple of times they did. There was me and another guy called Ollie on a GSR 600. He was doing great as well. He come around, and the instructor come past both of us, and then both of us could just follow the instructor. You could see we were getting quicker as we were following them. The only thing I've done is I damaged my gloves here. This my Deeney's gloves, which my good mate Big Si, he gave me these. But yeah, they caught here, but they absolutely done their job, because my hand doesn't have a mark on it, and the leather glove. I'm super glad I had a gauntlet. That's one thing I'd say if you're going to go do a track day. Make sure your glove comes up high, because when Nave come off, his gloves aren't quite as long as this, and it pulled up, and he did very lightly catch his hand. Luckily it wasn't a lot, but it did rip a bit of skin off there. As you can see, it's caught through there, but because my leather was underneath, it just touched the leather, and like I say, it ripped them apart, but it hasn't, it's just caught my thumb up here as well. Luckily I brought a second set of gloves with me, just an old set I used to have. I don't know why, I just chucked them in the back thinking I might use them, and funny enough I did. Other than that, I think I got a light scuff on the boot, light scuff on the side of my boot, down here. Like I said, they lightly touched my knee, but the knee slider took a lot of the brunt, because I was not that I touched the knee sliders generally riding, but they took a good brunt of it. So I would advise that as well, even if you're not expecting to get your knee down around the corners, having them on there, if you do go down, it took a good brunt of the force. My knee, I felt a tiny bit. I thought it was going to be bruised, but to be honest, absolutely fine. And it was only yesterday. I'll happily go out again today. Was absolutely brilliant. I had some footage in, a couple laps. I won't add all of it, because I pretty much recorded all the sessions, so you don't want to see all that. But anyone's got any questions or anything like that, I'd highly recommend going to do a track day. Don't worry what you got. If you've got a CB 500, I mean, I'd say you wouldn't want to go up there on something like a 125 really, unless it was like a two-stroke sort of racing. You want something that can at least get up to maybe 80-90 mile an hour, just to if not, the straight will probably feel very long if you're only riding a 125. But you'd still have fun on a 125. You probably just wouldn't really need to brake. You could just go around the whole track flat out. But I'd say a 400 upwards, anything, you could go there on like an FZR 400 or something, would be absolutely amazing, because there's anything light for around, absolutely great. So I recommend that to anyone. I've got another one booked. I already had it booked, to be honest, because I didn't know I was actually doing the Ian Lougher day until the last minute when the COVID sort of thing was lifted from Wales. But yeah, I've got Cadwell Park booked for 2 weeks time. I'm going up with Si off for the Southwest Bikers Forum. Me and him are going up. Actually, funny enough, he came out with us. He's normally in the Inters group, but he had a bad back, so he dropped down to the novice group, and unfortunately I only got to follow him for a few laps. He come past me down the straight into one of the corners. I've probably got that on the video. I'll have a look in a minute. And then I sort of kept with him. Well, I say kept with him, he was pulling on me, but I could keep him in sight for probably 3 or 4 laps, and then after that I sort of got lost. But it would have been nice if I could have followed him more, really, because he's done a lot of track days, and I could see he's a pretty smooth rider, so it would have been nice to have, just going to go try and do as many as I can. Yeah, absolutely loved it. What a buzz. There's nothing like it. I'd say you just can't do that sort of, you can't ride like that on the road, really, not without worrying that you're going to crash into something, really. But yeah, make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll be putting the next one up when I get up to Cadwell in a couple of weeks' time. See you then.